Hey guys, what's going on? So King's Raid just released a developer note about 4 hours ago, might be like 8 hours by the time this is uploaded, but I briefly skimmed over it and it looks very exciting. At least one significant change, but probably more than that. This is just a dev note, it's not an official patch note, so it's just kind of the developer talking to us, explaining their future plans, but it probably will be happening somewhat soon. So they say, as posted before, we have various plans to make King's Raid much more fun with diverse content based on feedback and opinions we have received. We will make adjustments and revamps so that it will make our game easier and more enjoyable for all raiders, and also we will melt the stories of each hero into the story in the future so that you can have more affection for the heroes in the game. So if you remember back on New Year's Day, they released this letter with some rewards in it, and they were talking about individual stories for all heroes, so I guess that's what they're touching on here. So here's the main thing, in my opinion. There might be a little bit more, but I just got excited and wanted to record and wanted to just talk, so we're going to be going through it now. So, Transcendence, revamps, and adjustments. This is pretty crazy, and it's going to change a lot, and probably in ways they don't even expect, perhaps. They say, we had to go through a lot of discussions and meetings to come up with various ideas about how we are going to make King's Raid more fun. At the first step, we have decided to make revamps on Transcendence. Below are the details. Transcendence Points. In Transcendence Perk, Transcendence Points will be introduced, which will enable you to pick various Transcendence Perks in more various ways. These are points that you can invest to choose Transcendence Perks. So it looks like we'll be able to choose more than one per level as we can now. They say, after the revamp, you'll be able to obtain a certain amount of Transcendence points every time you transcend, and you will have to invest those points to learn hero Transcendence perks. One thing to keep in mind is that you can invest the points on more than one perk of the same Transcendence level, but you won't be able to invest the points on both light and dark of the same skill. So there are 4 different perks you can choose from in like T3, for example, and you can have the light or dark version of every skill. So when you combine T3 and T4, there are all 4 skills there, so the 3 skills you actually click to activate and the passive skill. And every single one of those skills will have an added effect through Transcendence after this perk. So every single one of your skills will do something in addition or cost 1 less mana or whatever. You just can't have both light and dark of one skill. So basically, one skill won't have 2 effects. That's impossible. With that, it looks like they're going to be revamping Transcendence perks. They say, since you will be able to choose more than one perk, some of Transcendence perks will be revamped as well, from T1 to T5. I was thinking more like just T3 and T4 would be changed, because that's where the skills kind of come into play, but it looks like all the way from T1 to T5, everything, well, the like undesirable ones, they say here a little bit later. Below will be the topics that will be adjusted in this Transcendence perk revamps, so we can see that here. Unpopular perks, overpowered perks, and other perks that can cause issues if used with other perks will be considered in this revamp. I don't have any examples off the top of my head, since we won't be able to put 2 effects on one skill, because I could see that causing a lot of issues, but since it'll just be every skill has its own effect that you can choose from one or the other, I don't know how much that will affect other things, but some passives and skills kind of combine a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see. So this part's a little bit confusing on buff perks. It says, if a hero had buff effect perks at the same time, only one perk used to be applied. I'm not sure if they're talking about like the priest's crit rate and stuff like that, where it gives everyone 15% crit rate. I assume that's what they mean, but I could be wrong, because those said it does not stack. So that would kind of make sense. And then they say, after the revamp, all buff perks will be partially applied. So that probably has to do with the fact that apparently you'll be able to choose also 2 Transcendence 2 perks, and I think some classes have like at least 3 that don't stack. So if you had like too many of those, then it would be like forced to waste 1 perk. And apparently after that, they'll all be partially applied, so that's interesting. There might be like a diminishing returns effect sort of thing. So if you have like 2 priest perks where it gives a 15% crit rate, it won't be 30, maybe like 25 or 23, something like that. I can imagine that's what they're going to be doing with that. They say with Transcendence revamps, it will be more fun to raise your heroes with diverse routes. Of course, you will need to think more how you are going to form your decks. You can look forward to more fun through this revamp. I'm really looking forward to that. Just a new way to think about strategies and all that stuff. It's going to be a bit more complicated, of course, but that's part of the fun. And of course, balance is coming again. This is always a point of dread for me, because it's like, I'm kind of the meta slave, you know? I kind of go for the meta units, the good units, because I want to be good, and it's always those that are getting slapped in the face when balance patches are coming, but I guess that's why they're meta, and I guess they're trying to get to a point where there aren't really meta units, just like different units, and Scarlet is probably going to get hit already, which kind of sucks because like everyone's raised her already. But yeah, they say along with Transcendence revamps, there will be a balance patch as well. We are also discussing this issue every day, and plus we are putting all raiders' feedback and opinions on the priority list. Through this patch, there will be some adjustments to overall hero balance. Okay, overall. We are going to buff some heroes, those who have relatively weak skills or distinctive. Rhina buff incoming, hopefully. I don't have Rhina, don't plan on getting her, but she deserves a buff like Fluss does, so hoping to see some love for those dudes. After the patch, you'll be able to use those heroes in much more diverse ways. We are approaching this balance patch much more cautiously than before. A balance patch is necessary, but if your beloved heroes get nerfed, we can imagine how you can be disappointed. We are confident that we are trying our best day and night to meet everyone's needs. So this is scheduled to happen on the 25th of January, so not too far away. Actually 9 days, so a week and a half, and this will be dropping. I'm a little bit nervous already, but we'll be getting more details probably before that. They're also going to be revamping the early gameplay. They say they're going to nerf some chapter stages where you can be stuck for a while in the early game. Some stages I have in mind are the Jane level, the one where you have to fight Jane for the first time. I got stuck there for like a while, not so long, but long enough for it to be a notable point that people will get stuck. And I think on the next chapter with that Elrosed, something like that, chapter 5 last boss, that was insanely hard as well. They also say they're going to be making adjustments to getting fragments for early game players, so that's really cool. Because yeah, even if you're like spending a little bit of money, it's still very hard to progress, and especially hard for free to play. Unless there's like some special event going on, like the first challenge raid. Man, if you were an early game player then, you got a huge, massive boost if you got someone to carry you at least through easy and normal or something. That was amazing. It's like, I don't know, 1,700 fragments or something. Crazy, crazy. They say first we are going to increase the amount of fragments that you can acquire. After the revamp, you will be able to obtain much more fragments with higher chances in chapter stages. So does that apply for everyone or just like people rating on like easy to hard mode or something? It says this will help you upgrade your heroes much more easily and faster at the early stages of the game. It could also mean like when you clear all the stages on normal for the first time, you get a bigger chunk. I don't know. And here's something really interesting as well. They say, currently we are preparing a loot booster that you can use whenever and wherever you want. What the hell does that mean? Like a permanent loot booster or like a free loot booster per day or something like that you can just like activate? I'm really interested to see what's going on with this. That would be really interesting. It might just be for early game players. I don't know. Maybe it's like a first week thing that you can just like toggle on and off. But why would you ever toggle it off? Maybe there's a time limit on it. I don't know. Because it is in quotes there, so it's not going to be like a real loot booster, I guess. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is in the section of talking about getting fragments more easily, so I can imagine it has a similar effect. But yeah. And that's pretty much it. It says they'll promise to keep on developing interesting content for all raiders to enjoy. We will always keep this promise in mind. We will try our best to meet raiders' needs. We hope everything goes well in 2018, and also we will be back with more diverse events on the first year anniversary. Thank you. Alright, that is very interesting. Really looking forward to pretty much everything here. I even look forward to the balance, even though I kind of know probably like half of my roster is going to get messed up in some way or another. But even so, I think balance is good, balance is needed, unless they make anyone like unusable. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people are mad at Scarlet for her being how she is. Maybe they can tone down like her S2 a little bit, but ultimately she's not really good anywhere else besides Arena, kind of like Bao and Leo. But then again, Bao and Leo kind of got nerfed just with the addition of Scarlet, so it's kind of a weird thing. I'm sure it's very hard to balance, especially with more and more heroes coming, and they always have to consider all those combinations, like this hero counters that hero, counters this hero, counters that hero. So I'm sure it's a tough job, and of course I'm trying to give them as much like slack and leeway as possible. But with that being said, I guess this wraps up the developer note. What do you think about Transcendence points? I'm really curious about those. I mean, they kind of explained what's going on with them, but how we get Transcendence points is another topic. I will assume, like, our heroes that are T5 already will just get those Transcendence points, because it says you get them by transcending, but what about heroes that are already transcended? And then will there be a limited number of them? Like, if you have a T5, you get like 3 Transcendence points, you can pick 3 others, so then you kind of have to decide between T1 and T5 perks. I guess T5 is out of the question since there are only the light and dark. Oh wait, maybe you could have both. Think you could have both? Tell us the details. Tell us the details, Kingsraid. Tell us everything. But But yeah, I guess we have no choice. Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the developer note as a whole? Leaving a like would also be greatly appreciated if you did happen to enjoy. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.